going to have a Ketchup Pickle Day during math, and I wanted to take a minute to explain to you how Ketchup Pickle time works in the 5th grade math classroom, because it might be different than any other Ketchup Pickle time that you had maybe when you were at Ristler. So, anytime that we have a Ketchup Pickle Day during math, I will put a Ketchup Pickle agenda up on the board. So this will give you a list of the items that need to be completed, and it will tell you what order they have to be done in. So I always number them, however many items are on the list. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. It just depends on what we have been working on that week. But the numbers are super important. If you have things to do on number 1, whatever this says, you have to do those things first. Once you finish number 1, then you can go on to whatever number 2 says. So you can't skip around. You have to make sure that you do them in order, and that is why I number them. Now, let's say I am looking up here at the list, and I see that number 1 says that I have to do ketchup work first. Well, I look and I don't have any ketchup work. Maybe I'm on the pickle list. Then I will skip number 1 because I checked. I don't have any of these things. So then I go down to number 2. And I need to read number 2 and see, okay, do I have these things done? If I don't, then I'll start at number 2 because I didn't have any of number 1. If I also have number 2 done, I have all of these things done, then I get to skip number 2 and go down to number 3, and so on, okay? So you have to start at number 1, but if you check and you have those things completed, then you'll move on down the list, okay? Today's list has 4 items on it. Item number 1 says ketchup work. That will always be the very first thing that you need to get done on a ketchup pickle day because that is what the day is for. That's why it's called ketchup pickle. We got to do the ketchup stuff first. So it will say ketchup work, and then it will say check sticky notes. I have pulled 1 hamburger and a ketchup folder up here from the sideboard just so that you can see what I'm talking about. Each of you have a hamburger over there on the ketchup pickle board, and every class has a ketchup folder with all of the work in it. I just pulled 1 person's hamburger so that I could show you. So this person looks over at the ketchup work board and they see, ooh, I have some sticky notes, so they know they have ketchup work. If you look over and your hamburger is completely blank, there are no sticky notes on there, and it's still under the pickle, awesome. That means you get to skip number 1 because you don't have any ketchup work to do. But this person does. So this person is going to walk over to their hamburger at the ketchup pickle board, and they're going to read what that sticky note says, okay? I write everything down on the sticky note so that it is easy for you to tell what you need to do. So do not come to the teacher and say, what do I need to catch up on? Go read the sticky note. I take a lot of time to write them down so that you can stay organized and I can stay organized. So this first sticky note says, missing addition worksheet. So this student is thinking, okay, Mrs. Profit is missing my addition worksheet, which means I have not turned it into her at all. So now I have to think, maybe I need to look in my expandable and find it. Maybe it's in my locker and I need to go get it. I'm going to try to find this missing worksheet that Mrs. Profit does not have from me. If I find it and it's finished, then I need to turn it in. Great. Let's say I look in my expandable and my locker and I cannot find it. If you cannot find it, you have to restart it because I have to have it from you. That was your assignment. If you don't have it, I can't grade it. So if I find it, I'm going to finish it if it's not done and turn it in. Wonderful. If I cannot find something that's missing, I'm going to go over to the white extra copies basket right over there by the podium, and I'm going to look through and find whatever it is that I'm missing. So I would go over and find the addition worksheet if I needed another copy, and then I would need to do it before I turned it in. Okay? Let's say that I found mine in my expandable and it was done. I just forgot to turn it in. I'm going to take my paper over to the teacher, and I'm going to say, here is my missing addition worksheet. The teacher will go over, take that sticky note off, and she will stick it right on that worksheet. That way, Mrs. Profit knows, here was the missing worksheet, here's the sticky note that tells me it was missing, they're together, and then I can put it in the tray. Okay? Notice I said the teacher will take the sticky note off. Students, do not touch my sticky notes. Okay? It takes me a really long time to write these and keep everything organized. And if I let students take them off, then I have about 80 people removing sticky notes from the Ketchup Pickle board, and it becomes chaos and things get lost. So when you have something done that your sticky note says, you take it to the teacher. The teacher will check through and make sure that it's actually done and that it looks good, and then they will go remove the sticky note and stick it on your paper. You do not take the sticky notes off. Otherwise, it makes me very angry and we don't want that. Okay? There is one more sticky note on this person's hamburger. So they turned this missing paper in. The teacher took the sticky note off, put it on their paper, and they put it in the tray. That one's done. But they have one more thing they need to do. So now they're going to read the other sticky note, and it says, subtraction worksheet corrections. As I am grading your assignments, if you miss several problems, I will put your worksheet back in the Ketchup folder for you to make corrections. Okay? Math is something that builds upon each other. So you have to understand this stuff before you can do the next stuff, and the next stuff, and the next stuff. If you don't understand this assignment, then the next assignment is going to be even harder, and the next one's going to be even harder. So when I grade your homework, if you have missed several questions, I make you correct the ones that you missed. That way we can make sure that you are truly understanding what we're working on before we keep going on to the next math thing. Okay? So some of you, it seems like when I was grading your assignments that you've been working on, have been rushing through just to get done with your assignment. That means you're going to have corrections because you rushed and you didn't take your time and you made silly mistakes. So you're going to have to redo it. So on a Ketchup Pickle day, instead of having a fun math activity to do, you're going to have to make corrections on the homework that you rushed through. So make sure that you are taking your time and always doing your very best. Otherwise, you will just redo the assignment anyway. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. So we have subtraction corrections. So I'm going to look. If it says corrections, your paper is in the red Ketchup folder. Okay? And there's lots of papers in here. So I got to look for the one that says my name on it. My paper. And this one's right in front. So I'm going to pull my paper out. And at the top it says, corrections need to be made, Mrs. Profit. And you'll notice I have highlighted every problem that I want this person to correct. Okay, this one had several. There are several problems on here that were incorrect. So maybe this person rushed through their assignment. Okay? So I've got to take this back to my seat. And any one of these numbers that's highlighted, I need to erase the work that I had, and I need to redo that problem. Okay? So I'm going to do all the highlighted problems again, making sure to erase what I had and redo them. When I think I have them all fixed, I'm going to take my paper up to the teacher, and they're going to check to see if they're right. When you are doing corrections, you have to get them correct. That's why they're called corrections. I'm finding the correct answer, fixing my mistakes, so that Mrs. Profit makes sure I understand what I'm doing on that assignment. Okay, so this person is going to do all of these. They're going to take it up to the teacher, and the teacher will put a little okay by all the ones that are right. Okay, let's say they get all these right, they get all these right, but they still miss number 22. Like they tried to redo it, but they still are wrong. The teacher's going to say, okay, all of these look good except for that one, try it again. And they're going to go back and they're going to try number 22 again until they get it correct. If they bring it back up and this time it's correct, we'll put a little okay there. Then the teacher will say, all right, wonderful, those are great. The teacher will go over to the hamburger, take the sticky note off. They will stick it on the paper, and then they will let you turn it into the tray. Now I know this one is also completed. I go back and look at my hamburger. It is now empty. So I know all my ketchup work is done because all of my sticky notes are gone. Okay? Hopefully that part makes sense. The most important parts are you do not remove the sticky notes, the teacher does. And if it says says corrections, you have to do all of the highlighted problems and get them correct when the teacher checks them before they're considered done. So you've got to really make sure that you're taking your time on your assignments from now on so that maybe we don't have as many corrections to do on a Ketchup Pickle day. Okay, so that was all for number 1, catch-up work. Lots of things are going to be going on. People are going to be working on different things. When I get my catch-up work done, so my hamburger is clean, I don't have any more to do, I'm going to go to number 2 on the list. Number 2 for today is your iReady diagnostics. I know you've been working on those. Some of you are finished with them, some of you are not. So if your iReady diagnostics are not done, you need to finish them. The math one and the reading one. So you need to make sure that both of them are finished. You might log into iReady and double check. Even if you think you're done, double check that both of those are completed, please. If I get done with my iReady diagnostics or I'm already done, then I can go down to number 3. Homework from another class, if you have any. So if you have any homework from a different class that you need to work on, number 3 is the time that you can do that. Once you have both of these things done, if you have any homework from any of your other classes, you can work on it now. That way you don't have to take it home with you. And last but not least, if I don't have any homework from another class or I get it all finished, number 4 today is the last item on our agenda. So this is where everybody will end up, hopefully by the end of class. I'm going to have you play on Math Prodigy today. I've put some questions out there of things that we have been working on and things that we're going to be working on. That way you can start practicing and reviewing with those types of math questions, okay? This part is very important. It says, when you're playing on Math Prodigy, you must still be quiet. Just because you're on Prodigy doesn't mean that everyone is. Some other people in the class are still going to be doing catch-up work, or some other people are going to be trying to focus on their iReady diagnostic, or some other people are going to be trying to finish their ELA homework maybe. So you have to be quiet and respectful of what everyone else is still working on. Just because you are here does not mean that everyone is. You must still be quiet, but you can play at a comfy spot if you stay on task. So if you are on Math Prodigy and you're just practicing those math questions and battling people, you may move to a comfy spot with your iPad if you can stay on task. By a comfy spot, I mean maybe you want to come sit in the beanbag and play. Maybe you want to sit in one of the chairs back in the corner and play. Maybe you want to sit in the rolly chair that's normally right here and play. You absolutely can, as long as you can stay quiet and on task. If the teacher is walking around and you are not on task, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going back to your seat. If you're sitting in a beanbag and someone else is sitting in the other beanbag and you cannot work quietly and you're distracting other people, you're both going back to your seat. So if you can follow these rules, you can be in a comfy spot. If you cannot, then you can play Prodigy from your seat instead. If you get to this part of the list and all of the comfy spots are taken, there's already somebody sitting in all of them, you can politely go ask someone if they will trade you and let you have a turn in the comfy spot. If they say no, then it's just their turn today and you'll get a turn some other time. You'll just have to work at your seat. But if you've been at a comfy spot for a long time and somebody comes and asks, you want to trade with me? It would probably be a kind thing to do to trade with them. If you just sat down there, I would say, no, sorry, I just got here too. And they'll be like, okay. But if you've been sitting there for the majority of class and they ask to trade, you could say, yeah, I've been sitting here for a long time. You can have a turn. Okay, so just think about being kind to other people because we don't have enough comfy spots for everyone. So we just kind of have to take turns and do the best we can to make it as fair as possible. Okay, so Ketchup Pickle agenda, numbered. Make sure you're doing things in order. Make sure you're checking those sticky notes on hamburgers. Everything should be in the red ketchup folder unless it says missing. If it says missing, you should have it somewhere. If you cannot find it in your expandable or your locker, extra copies are in the white basket. You'll just have to go find an extra copy and restart on that assignment, which really stinks, but that's kind of your fault. You're responsible for keeping track of the assignment and making sure it gets turned in. Okay? Do your best. Make sure that you're staying focused on what you need to focus on. and make sure that you are being quiet and respectful of what other people might be doing, even if you are not. Have a great day. See you later.